Today, we are diving into the story of a book that didn't just get published, it pretty much exploded onto the scene. Yeah, we're talking about a modern cultural phenomenon that was born right on the internet. So how does that even happen? We are going to trace the incredible journey of Prajakta Koli's debut novel, Too Good to Be True. It's a story that has it all: hype, backlash, and in the end, it really shows you the massive power that readers hold in today's world. So, first things first, who is the author behind this literary sensation? Well, for millions of people, she was already a household name long before she ever wrote a single chapter. Prajakta Koli, who you probably know as MostlySane, wears a ton of hats. I mean, with over 17 million followers, she's not just a creator. She's an actor, she's a UN Development Program youth climate champion, and a huge advocate for girls' education. So you can imagine when she announced her first book, it wasn't just seen as another piece of merch. No, this was a really big, highly anticipated career move. And the hype? It was absolutely real, right from the very beginning. Major publications were listing it as a must-read way before it was even released. That set some incredibly high expectations for her big jump into the literary world. The pressure was definitely on. Okay, so with all that buzz, what was the story itself actually about? Let's get into the narrative that got everyone talking. At the heart of it all is our protagonist, Avani. She's this witty, super relatable character who, and I think a lot of us can understand this, prefers the safety and the predictable endings of fictional romance to the messy, complicated reality of real life. Her past has taught her to keep that guard way up. So you see, this plot is way more than just a simple love story. It's really a deep dive into some pretty heavy themes, you know? Things like self-worth, healing from grief, and just finding the massive amount of courage it takes to trust someone again after you've been hurt. It's really about that little voice in your head that asks, do I even deserve this kind of happiness when it finally shows up? All right, so the stage is set, the story is there. But the launch, that's where things got really interesting. It was basically defined by two huge and completely different talking points. One was all about groundbreaking innovation, and the other was about a simmering controversy. So on one hand, you have this totally brilliant, innovative marketing idea. Koli released an original soundtrack and a music video for the book, which was a total first for a romance novel in India. Super cool. But on the other hand, you had this wave of online backlash. People started pointing out that the book's description, the blurb, sounded really similar to our Netflix show, Mismatched. And that just kicked off this huge debate online about originality and whether she was just repackaging an old idea. So the book finally drops, and the official reviews from the literary critics, well, let's just say they were deeply divided. They painted two very different pictures of the novel. So, a lot of the critics absolutely loved it. They praised the book for its witty dialogue, its emotional depth, and just how authentic it felt in its portrayal of modern relationships. They really saw it as a genuinely refreshing and heartfelt story. But then, you had the other side. Other reviewers just felt differently. They called the plot predictable, maybe a little too perfect, and said it lacked the realism they wanted to really connect with it. Some even said it kind of shied away from the emotional depth it hinted at, and instead went for a lighter, more cinematic, Bollywood-style feel. So picture this. The critics are split right down the middle. One group loves it, the other, not so much. This made one thing absolutely crucial. What would the readers decide? Who was going to have the final word on this book's success? Well, the first verdict from the readers came in loud and clear, and it came from their wallets. People bought the book. In droves. It shot right up the bestseller lists almost instantly, proving right from the get-go that it had massive commercial appeal. But the ultimate confirmation, the real seal of approval, came at one of India's most prestigious literary events. The book actually took home a Crossword Book Award, which is a huge honor in the publishing world. Now, here's the really crucial detail. It wasn't just any award. It was the Popular Choice Award. And what does that mean? It means it wasn't decided by a small panel of critics behind closed doors. Nope. It was voted on by the public, by the readers themselves. This was the ultimate proof that no matter what the controversy was or how mixed the reviews were, this book had found its audience. And that audience absolutely loved it. When you look at the whole picture, the story of Too Good to Be True really shows us how a creator's direct connection with their audience can build something so powerful it can overcome industry criticism and online debates. And it kind of leaves us wondering, as more and more creators become authors, is the voice of the reader becoming the only one that truly matters?